Hey everyone, I'm Xonani. Welcome to my new video. This week I felt like painting something soft and peaceful, so I chose two of my favorite spring flowers to fill a sketchbook spread. And I found again a few vintage field guide books in thrift shops. And this one a friend gifted to me. Look at these beautiful illustrations. These other two have plants and animals in it, also mushrooms. I love books like this and I use them as a catalog of reference pictures and for inspiration. I found the flowers I wanted to paint in one of these books and used the reference pictures as an inspiration. May has started and also my Spring Flush Challenge, which is happening the whole May, and an art challenge which I created for my patrons, and the first prompts are Pansy and Primrose. Pansy was first. For this painting session I used my Etchr Lab sketchbook, which I love, with hot pressed cotton paper and sketched with a Prismacolor Coal Erase pencil. Because I wanted a bit of magic and whimsical vibes here, there had to be a cute spirit creature next to the Pansy as well. Its companion. Today I will use my old and beloved brush from Van Gogh and my Mijello Mission Gold watercolors, which I'm using all the time right now. But there is one more color I will use today. Here is it, the Lavender from Daniel Smith. I've seen a lot of artists using it and love it, and had to also try this color. It was hyped a bit recently, I would say. And of course I'm very curious about hyped colors, and of course I have to test them. The first impression is okay-ish. It's a nice color. I'm not really sure if it wants to granulate or not. It's mixed out of ultramarine violet, ultramarine blue and titanium white, so I expected more granulation. But let's see what we can do with a color like this in a painting. Like I said before, at first I was a bit unimpressed, I have to say. I started to paint the blossom using the lavender in it. My yellow here is a very warm yellow, it's gamboge. The lavender is a very transparent color. The pink here is the quinacridone permanent magenta. Later I will also use indigo for mixing in my greens to have more shadow greens and dark tones. And these are all colors I used in this whole spread. I was very curious what greens I could mix with a lavender. And I have to say, I love these greens. You can mix very natural greens with an olivey vibe from the lavender. Ultramarine blue is a warm blue mixed with a warm yellow. You can already mix wonderful greens. So it's obvious that the greens with the lavender are also very beautiful, I think. But because I never use ultramarines in general, I was a bit surprised at first in my little cold blue lover universe. And as I said before, for the more dark shadow greens, I used a bit of indigo to mix it in the lavender green. To be honest, as I got this lavender paint, I tried it out right away next to 3 other new watercolors I ordered from Quor, and I was kind of disappointed. I expected a lot more after all these positive reviews about this color. It's not always the Daniel Smith lavender, it's different lavender from different kinds of brands. This is not the brand that was hyped, it's the color that was hyped. And I expected a lot more from this color, but it still was only a swatch. So I wanted to give it a better try on this day. And after I worked with it here on good quality paper and used it for mixing and so on, I can imagine why this color is such a popular one right now. I really like it, I have to say. It's very useful for nature sketching, for example. I guess you can mix very authentic greens in a short amount of time. Otherwise, you have to mix your blue and your yellow also with a tiny bit of red or sepia to mute the color a bit, or use a brownish yellow to mix your greens. Another easy way, I don't know, I just can say I like this color and it can be very useful to have in a palette. This has to dry now. I will come back with my colored pencils in a while. Meanwhile, I'm sketching the Primrose on the second page. I love these yellow primroses. In German, they are called Schlüsselblümchen, which is key florets, key flower directly translated. According to folklore, the blossoms looked like a bunch of keys, like old-fashioned keys. There's even a legend that St. Peter once dropped the keys from heaven, and where they touched the ground, the first primrose began to grow. And in some traditions, the flowers were believed to unlock hidden treasures, or even the arrival of spring itself. As I was a kid, my great aunt took me to the forest every spring, and there were a wetland area in the middle of the forest. And there the whole area was yellow from the primroses which grew there. And we picked a few for a bouquet. This is a wonderful childhood memory for me. Years later, as I was an adult, I went back to this place in the forest again, and there were no wetlands anymore, so also no primroses grew there, sadly. Yeah, nature changes, so as we do. This is why I love primroses so much, and this is why I had to paint also a little creature under the primrose blossoms, which is so happy it found one in the forest, like I was as a kid. So back to the lavender. The creature on the right would have been better painted in lavender, I guess. So we would have had 2 blobs of lavender color in the upper left corner and then on the bottom right, but it's also okay in pink, I guess. I always try to give my spreads a nice flow of the colors I'm using. Kind of a layout. I mean, I wished for it the most of the time. Often I also don't think too much and just start to paint and bring color on my paper and have fun. And like in this case, it's so interesting to explore new colors and what I can do with them. I think I have to paint more with this lavender color. Also using it for the lights and highlights in my paintings on places where the light hits the objects. I've seen this and it looks gorgeous. So I have to experiment with this, and yeah, all in all, my opinion to this color changed from the first impression to now. It really has potential. So on this point, I chose a few colored pencils, a blue and a dark pinky red for my outlines and shadows, also yellow and an orange and a white to render my artworks on the spread. Also to define all parts of the flowers and outline them a bit. I don't want to draw too much details on the spread. I wanted it to look still loose. I still wanted to see my strokes and the texture of the colored pencils. I mostly use a dark blue and a dark red colored pencil to finish my artworks. I don't know exactly why, but it looks deep and nice also if you layer them. Blue is a very good shadow color anyways. I mostly use blue for shadows. It doesn't matter which medium I use. And the red always looks good together with the blue, in my opinion. Or like on this piece, more red for the creature and more blue for the plant. If you're using black for the shadows, it looks too harsh, too dark sometimes. It can look quite nice if you want to have this graphic style, or sometimes a black background is perfect. But in delicate drawings, I would always prefer a blue. Perhaps a dark brown, like a dark umber. Or if you would like kind of a black, you can also use Payne's Gray or a neutral tint in watercolor. Oh, there are so much nice shadowy, also granulating colors, which you can use for your shadows and with a touch of color. Here you can see I'm going on top again with the red. Together with the blue, it looks awesome and pops a bit more. And I decided to outline and render my creature also with the red, so it stands out more from the plant and the weeds and the leaves. Recently, I love to paint flowers again. This must be because of the wonderful sun comes out more and more. I was starving for these sunbeams, and so much colorful flowers are growing again. This feels just wonderful, and I'm so happy about springtime and the beautiful nature. I could have spring the whole year. On the Primrose, I painted a second layer and then I also drew with the colored pencils on top. In the end, there happened something. I wrote Primrose wrong with an E. This is so me. This happens here and there. I'm learning English for 30 years now and it happens again and again. I'm sorry. I try my best. And I'm also a bit of a chaotic person. This means often I just do the things and don't think too much before because it's boring to double check how something have to be written or pronounced. So in the end, it's a bit embarrassing for me, but I hope you don't mind too much and I hope the meaning of the word haven't changed with this needless E after prim. Whatever, I hope you enjoyed this video and thank you so much for watching. Please don't forget to give this video a like and subscribe if you haven't already. Thank you so much for your support. And a big warm thank you to my wonderful patrons. You are so amazing. Thank you so much. Then have an awesome week, my friends. See you next time. Yours, Tsunani.